Hey everybody, today I'm gonna show you a game that I've been following for quite some time. It's Gravity Circuit. Now, I've seen this game on Twitter, thanks to, well, the Twitter account behind the game, but it's crazy to finally experience some of it through this demo. And I want to let as many people as I can know about this game because it's awesome from what I've played. We're gonna go quickly through each of these things. You're playing as Gravity Circuit, aka Kai. We'll learn as we go, but you can move around, you can run, you can punch, and you have a grappling hook. And they're all awesome and fun to use. You have a bunch of different mobility options and ways to attack. It's very freeform, and I like that about it. Like, it's freeform just in the way that it controls, but there's even more options later on that I'll show off. And of course, I love the visuals and music in this. And the character designs are pretty damn good. It feels like it has some Mega Man influence as well as Sentai stuff, especially in the main character. Like, I would like to see somebody cosplaying as Kai. These burst energy charges are what might as well be called super moves. And that is because they essentially reference fighting game moves. We have a Tatsumaki Senpu Kyaku, a Shoryuken, a spinning pile driver, which is just amazing in a platformer like this, and a bare knuckle. We can just skip that, and now we're gonna head on to the first mission. Funny thing about this guy, it's one of the first characters that was revealed from this game via Dominic Ninmark's music uploads of this game. And for a while, I didn't know that this game would actually follow a Mega Man structure with 8 robots. I thought it would just have this guy as the main rival of sorts. And to me, it made sense. I mean, one is like, the main character Speedy, he's more power-based, at least that's what I thought. And the red and green are contrasting colors. But now he's just one of many things to come. So, as you can see, you have a currency in this game. So far, there isn't a lot to spend it on besides something I'll show off later. When you pause the menu, you have booster chips, which essentially allow you to modify the game how you want. I imagine in the final game you will gain these abilities from the respective robots, because there's 8 of them. And I think they all have something to do. You can associate them with the characters in question. But who knows? You have the 4 supers, and you can use more. Like, you can replace some of these with a heal, or like a clone thing, or a counter. There's a lot of customizability. But even then, the game is designed perfectly with just your base moveset, which is how I'm gonna be playing it. There will also be a lot of secrets to find, mostly in the form of breakable walls, and with the reward being rescuing somebody. This game is so visually pleasing. It's got somewhat of a limited color palette. Like, my character pretty much has just 4 colors, not counting the black outline. Then that makes it 5. I really like the scarf. And the animations are just really well made. In these stations, you can spend 100 to heal yourself back to full and get full meter. You can also collect these items by just attacking them either with your fist or your grappling hook. It's pretty convenient. Now, I'm not promising some expert no-death run, but I will try my best. You can also throw enemies around, that's always fun. I'll try to show off as many of the locations of the hostages as I can as well. Maybe I'll forget some. If I do, I'll probably try to point it out afterwards. Like, oh yeah, there was one over here where there was a cracked wall. The grappling hook is a pretty good attack as well. It's obviously not as fast as attacking with your fists, but it reaches pretty far. You might not have a Mega Man style projectile, but it reaches almost all the way to like the middle of the screen. I always enjoy enemies that interact with the environment like these guys do. Also, instant death isn't a thing. It just respawns you back while dealing damage, which I think is a really good balance, because it doesn't punish you harshly, but it still does force you to actually learn the challenge. You can't use invincibility frames to just go past spike obstacles. You still take the damage and get respawned. You can do all kinds of die kicks, although they're a little delayed and not as fast to attack as your fists, so you gotta keep that in mind. Perhaps when the game is released, the currency will be spent on the chips that I mentioned earlier. That probably makes a lot of sense, now that I think about it. It's my fault. By the way, you have infinite lives. Well, rather, there's no life system. You just die and respawn to one of these checkpoints, which is always appreciated. For the record, I don't mind life systems. In fact, if I am given the option between lives and infinite lives, I'll pick limited. Because I just kind of have satisfaction in designing levels around finding 1-ups and, you know, the feeling of actually getting them. But I totally think, I also do think they are kind of an archaic design choice. I'm just kind of used to them. One thing that'll take a moment to get used to in this game, when you grab onto a ledge and hold up forward, like where you want to climb, you'll just do a normal jump. But if you tap the jump button too early, you do a wall jump. You have to wait until you hear the sound effect of you latching on, or until you see your character do so. That's always fun. So yeah, it's easy to like make some mistakes in this game with the way controls. Like I mentioned, you don't have iframes when you fall into spikes or the laser in this case. So you end up sometimes juggling yourself and just kind of losing half of your HP in a quick succession. Also, here is one of the upgrades of the game. If I had low health, it would have filled it all the way up. But not only that, it increases the maximum health. That's fine. If you pay attention to my health bar and the fact that I just got 2 extra bars of health, you'll notice that there would be enough health upgrades that 8 of them would be enough to get an entire second health bar. So I think it's safe to assume that each circuit stage will have a health upgrade defined. That was me being impatient. That was me mistiming things. That's gonna be our first death. One thing I like about games like this is that even if you get sent back a bit, you're like, the movement allows you to get back on track pretty quickly. And we're already nearly back where we were. So the checkpoint placement is pretty good. The game isn't punishing you too much. Actually, wait, I'm stupid. We aren't back where we were. Now we are. I like that even though these characters are referred to by a certain type of circuit, they also have a short name, like Kai and Cable. Even though this is the first guy you're bound to get to, I actually think is one, like, the harder of the two. The bosses in this game will be pretty challenging, but they are fair. Usually, I recommend, if you get an opportunity to punch them, to do it twice, and then leave. They have a super move of their own. Suplex. After that super, you can keep juggling them. It's real fun. So in case you have a hard time with the boss, you can just get to the checkpoint, pay for some extra meter, and you can get through them pretty easily. It's kind of like having a Robot Master weakness. And then you collect their accessory, I guess? This is why I think you must be gaining some kind of thing from the bosses themselves. Yeah, you get more currency depending on how well you perform and the amount of rescues you get, I guess. Every time you finish a mission, it will say it is the end of the demo, so whatever upgrade or currency you gain from one stage won't carry on to the other. I love that. The intro sequence has follows a leitmotif depending on the character that you're choosing. The same thing applies to the boss music. It sounds the same, but there's a section in somewhere in the middle that follows the leitmotif of who you're fighting. So it's not like Shovel Knight where the bosses have completely unique themes, but it's still noticed. It's still like accounted for. I really like this background effect and making it look all hot. I will say a thing that kind of confuses me in this stage is a lot of secrets are behind cracked walls, but some of these tiles just have a crack for no reason. Maybe it was for aesthetic's sake, but it feels more confusing than anything when you're trying to look for everything. At least here, it's pretty clear it's a secret. Oops. What's interesting is that a lot of enemies are put in hit stun, so you can, even if you don't attack them very fast, you can still interrupt their attacks and keep making it safer for yourself, I suppose. Like that enemy would have eventually shot a projectile had I not attacked it. I like these guys, they work like Mega Man Gabios, because they get faster when you're on the same terrain as them. I like to think this gimmick is the developers attempting to make a fun quick man laser. It doesn't seem like it now, but it'll make sense later. It's pretty tough to not get hit by some of these laser things for the first time going through. But I think they're doable. And they're certainly not very punishing, thankfully. I think I have enough health. I like this not death animation, like weakened animation. It even stops the scar from like appearing until you move. It's a really cool detail. Before you panic, you can just duck under these. So far I haven't gotten many moments where I felt like I was encouraged to duck, so at least there's this. Really enjoy how the hook works as an attack. Could have easily been just a mobility thing, but I'm glad that it isn't just that. And there's a second health upgrade. As I said, it doesn't carry the upgrade from the other mission, so I'm still stuck with just 2 extra. I like this part. I messed up. What happened to those blocks? I guess it kind of shot them before I got here. It's very tricky to get that health. I will get it. I almost did it without getting hit. Don't go to the boss yet. That gives you also extra health in case you need it. But I'm gonna heal myself anyway. having the meter is always good. I always love robot designs with giant shoulder things. Like, the shoulder things can be anything, is what I mean. If you do super right before the second phase, you get to deal a little more damage than you would have if you just hit them normally. I should have done it in the corner. I always beat these bosses low in health, so I'm guessing that's why Kai has this sprite here. And if that's the case, that's some great attention to detail. Yeah, sloppy indeed. And that is most of what the Gravity Circuit demo has to offer. There is more to play around with regarding the boost chips and the other supers that there are. So I don't want to spoil all the fun, because I still want people to play this. It's really fun and really tight. It's hard at first, but it feels great to get good at. So yeah, I'm gonna be leaving a link to the Steam page as well as the game's Twitter account in case you want to support them and try the game out. And I'll see you next time.